broadly voted in 2008 for a law on immigration that now is at the center of some problems. And we as a government are looking to fix something, but it isn't a scandal that people are taking advantage of a 2008 law. It is simply something we looked at, we voted for, and now we see that. If we look into these various activities and we see nothing wrong in the system that's explained to us and in what we're told is happening, then in fact, in a sense, we add to the ease with which the administration and future administrations can feel this is an appropriate way to operate.
Den of thieves, den of iniquity, den of vipers, or some other such predator. Call Washington, D.C. what you will. We call it Inside the Beltway. We send our own snake charmer in to bring back the news and a whole lot more. John Gizzi from Newsmax.com, our Washington correspondent, joins us right here on MidPoint. John, how are you today?
I'm doing fabulous, and what a beautiful day it is in the nation's capital. I'm glad I could say something about it. It's nice.
Say something nice about D.C. That's always good. The Chamber of Commerce will love you for that one. Let's put it this way. We need to talk a little bit about immigration here, and there's always that talk about immigration compromise here, and maybe Republicans might bow to pressure, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are and what you're hearing around the Beltway here, considering what the president announced today, which is his Honduran proposal, let's call it that way, basically allows hundreds of minors and young adults from Honduras into the U.S. without even going through Mexico. They are now screened. They can enter the U.S. as refugees or on emergency humanitarian grounds. I don't know if this is going to really force the Republicans to come to the table for any real immigration reform.
Well, he is obviously doing this with faint echoes of the fact that when he opposed the overthrow of President Zelaya in his first term, Republicans stood firm with those who took over the government because they felt Zelaya had operated illegally. And sure enough, the opponents of Zelaya remain in power with Republicans' full blessing. So the president is dealing with a Honduran president who years ago had the blessings of most Republicans in Congress. Now, I don't know if they ever sat down and thought he would pursue this kind of immigration policy. That said, remember something. There are less than 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks to go before Congress formally adjourns. That means in order for some action to be taken, Republicans and the Democrats in the White House have to come together on the cost of the reforms for immigration, along with having 40 more immigration judges to handle all of the people who come over on a case-by-case basis. And that's not even addressing the Honduran proposal. My guess is, knowing Republicans and the disparate vision they have of dealing with this problem from the White Houses, there'll be no deal.
In other words, 2 weeks to go, adjournment. Pay no attention to what you see. It's almost like the snake charmer. Pay no attention to the snake you see that's rising out of the basket right now. This is all just sideshow. Nothing's really going to happen, correct? We're just going to get there. Done.
I don't question the motives of either the president or the Republican leadership in the House or Senate. If you talk to most people who are in Congress or in politics even, they would like the issue of immigration behind them. It's a question of just how to do it and what size the final solution will have. But those are big whats, big possibilities, and I don't see it happening, all the complexity solved in 2 weeks of working days.
John, let me ask you then, with 2 weeks of working days left, if you had one or two things that you think might actually get done before they take the recess, is there anything to look at in that column?
Well, for one thing, Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, told a group of reporters, including me, that if border security were dealt with first, in other words, all of the reforms that are needed to have secure borders, then they could proceed with other measures, E-Verify, the reform of the immigration offices in Washington. The problem with that is the administration wants a comprehensive package with everything dealt with. However, they're open to passing some things in a partial dealing with immigration. If only they could agree on the enforcement and that were offered and voted on in one bill, that would be a step forward. But I doubt that's going to happen.
All right, got a couple of minutes left here. This story, I saw this and I just had to chuckle. I said, this is so Washington. The United States Army War College did a preliminary review. They found that Montana Senator John Walsh did appear to have plagiarized his final paper to earn a master's degree from the institution. They're going to look further into this. And I had to chuckle a little bit when I heard that the first thing he did when he came, and not badly here, but when his excuse was, I suffer from PTSD.
All right, now, since that report came out, Senator Walsh has backed away from that explanation completely and has said things more like he was completely exhausted when he returned from the service of his country overseas. And the post-traumatic disorder he is not using today as an explanation, and his office and campaign certainly aren't. Now, that said, let me point out something. The Washington Post noted that plagiarism by itself is not a crime, and many politicians have borrowed phrases from other sources without attribution and been caught in it. However, taking major portions of a dissertation for an advanced degree is a different story. In Newsmax, I cite the case that is almost eerily parallel to that of Senator Walsh. Karl Theodor zu Guttenberg, German defense minister, his country's most charismatic politician, considered the heir apparent to Chancellor Angela Merkel, was found to have plagiarized large chunks of his PhD dissertation, including about 72 pages taken directly from other sources, other things not footnoted, a whole article from Foreign Policy magazine jammed into the thesis. His degree was revoked. He was out as defense minister, and the man once considered heir to Chancellor Merkel is now Mr. Gutenberg, or as the German press called him, Googleberg.
And we will have to follow Senator Walsh's travails from there, my friend, because we're all out of time. John, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the show. We'll go inside the Beltway again on Monday. You have yourself a great weekend.
I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to talking to you on Monday. Thank you for having me.
See you then, John. Next up, the debate rages about blue food. Oh, and we'll talk to Steve Malzberg as well.